Hi there, yep, that's right, Nick Dutch, back on the camera yet again. And I'm going to talk about self-development, but not in a positive light this time. I'm going to talk about it in a negative light. One of the things that spurred me to make this particular video was because I had a client earlier on today, and she was a very interesting case. She, had problems with her relationships like a lot of my clients do. And in this particular case, she seems to have developed the idea that she can solve a lot of the problems in her life through books. Now, studying is important. Finding things out is important. A lot of people actually come onto YouTube in order to find things out. But this is not necessarily the best forum to be able to do that. To be able to fully understand someone's argument, sure, it's good to watch each and every single one of their videos and work out where they're coming from as far as their presentation is concerned. But even that is only the tip of the iceberg. It's only a certain quantity of time from their life which they're giving you. On top of that, it's often well prepared presentations rather than a deep or detailed analysis of their thoughts, feelings and ideas. So it's not necessarily indicative of the whole person. That's something you got to bear in mind. And the same goes with books and CDs and any other form of information that's out there, including on the internet. There's an awful lot of information which is just clamoring for our attention, and so it's very easy to pick up the wrong information and to make the wrong judgment. But within self-developmental culture, because I've come to realize that there is a whole culture to do with self-development, some individuals feel that they can search for a book which is going to help them with a particular problem, and then that's it, done and dusted. No, it's more complex than that, and some of the solution providing that you've got to go through has got to happen through just sitting down and thinking, or sitting down and thinking with a pen and paper in front of you so you can make notes and refer back to them, and also to develop structures of how to think about the problems at hand. And all this requires work, time, energy, and in some cases money as well. It's not quite as quick or easy as a lot of people would like to believe. And one of the problems associated with self-developmental culture and religion is that there is an idea that, here's the solution, just read this and you'll be fine. When essentially that's not always the case, and nor is it always the solution which is presented in the book or the video or the website or on the CD or whatever, which is totally relevant to the life of the individual and for the problems that they've got. Some people seem to develop a dependence, a psychological dependence upon self-development. This one particular client of mine, after she discussed the problem with me, said, well, what book can I get to solve this problem for me? And I thought that was very interesting because it showed something about the mentality of that particular individual within self-developmental culture. It appears that because there are so many experts, or so many apparent experts, out there who've done lots of publishing and got lots of blogs and books and the rest of it, the person who's seeking for self-development may perceive themselves in a subordinate position, like they're down there, the expert's up there, they must always look up to the expert, which I don't think that's a healthy way of looking at the world. Whether the expert is a religious expert, a political expert, a relationship expert, psychological expert, you've got to do some thinking yourself. But you've also got to know how to think, and also how to think about what the expert's saying, what their argument is, where they may have got their inspiration from, and the rest of it. For instance, my mother told me about someone that she knows who says that sign in Star Trek actually came from a Middle Eastern cult, which it probably did. There's some vague evidence to suggest that. Now, I don't mind her telling me this, I don't mind her telling me that a friend said this, but the next stage is to think, where did this friend get this information from? And what was this friend of my mother's actually thinking about when they chose to get this information from this particular source? For instance, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists going around at the moment, which are latching onto the whole New World Order thing, and lots of other concepts, some of which are even more disturbing than the Alex Jones type New World Order ideas, who are going on about certain groups, certain racial groups and ethnic groups, and essentially the fact that they're evil because they're all connected to the people who do that a lot, which is pretty mental and dangerous. So my impression is that this friend of my mother's had some pretty stupid ideas or dangerous ideas and was using the wrong sources of information as a form of corroboration for her own thoughts and feelings. So it's, we always got to look out for where a person is coming from and to be able to understand that in great detail. But with the subject of self-development, you can't just rely purely upon self-developmental books. I'll give you a quick example. Alright, now this is a variety of self-developmental book. I don't know whether you've got this one, whether you've seen it before, and it's essentially about the alleged healing power of crystals. And it's interesting if you think about the person and what the person is trying to convey. They're trying to convey a certain perspective. The language that's used in this book is a suggestion that what this person is saying is true and fact. However, there's no corroborating proof. So we have to see this book as being something which has a spiritual or religious interpretation, but it is a interpretation. It is not fact, so therefore we got to just discard it if we were to approach it for the purposes of looking out for a fact. Okay? Same thing has to be done with any books which are about how you develop and how you change and ideas about self-development. Okay, a lot of the purpose, I feel, to religion and self-development is to bring you up to a point whereby you can actually become more normal. And yes, it is that common, basic, and day-to-day. Just how to become more normal. But maybe to have a foundation of some ideas behind you, which could inspire you, maybe direct you, or possibly to give you a different perspective. So that when you're out there in the real world, so to speak, in inverted commas, you can behave in a way which is more appropriate, more compassionate, and the rest of it. All religions and self-developmental groups are there to try and create a change in you. Whether that change is the change that you actually wanted to create in the first place is another matter entirely. And also, whether the people who are presenting this change to you can actually explain it coherently enough and can actually make the behavioral and psychological change strong enough for it to actually take root without causing you complete confusion is another matter as well. And there's lots of people out there who say that they can do all kinds of wonderful stuff but basically can't. So there's, from a psychological and sociological level, so to speak, okay, it's fascinating to look at these cultures, but it's also very difficult for one to be able to say, yes, there is truly something here, so to speak. Alright, maybe that's been a bit of a rambly video, I don't know, but I hope you understand roughly where I'm coming from here. Alright, great and glorious Nick Dutch signing out for now. Speak to you in a while.